So let's bring in our panel. Richard Fowler, Fox News contributor, and Jessica Anderson, Sentinel Action Fund president and former associate director of the OMB under President Trump. So here's a little bit of what Tom Homan said just a short time ago. Listen here.
For any mayor or governor who's going to push back on removing public safety threats from your community, that is your number one responsibility. You ought to be teaming up with us. Everybody ought to be on the same page. Republican, Democrat, Independent. This is a huge national security vulnerability, and everybody ought to be concerned with it.
So Homan says that their interest is in removing national security threats, and why wouldn't governors and mayors go along with that? What do you think, Richard?
Oh, I do think that you're going to find some agreement with Democratic governors and mayors to remove national security threats. I think we've seen that from Mayor Eric Adams, but also that from other mayors. I think the question here for the Trump administration as they come in, and remember, the president-elect campaigned on mass deportations, is how do you balance mass deportations with economic greatness in a world in which, say, for example, America's farm industry, which contributes $1.5 trillion to our economy overall, much of that is done on the backs of undocumented folks in southern and central California and parts of Arizona and parts of the Rust Belt and parts of Iowa. And so the question is, if you're going to do mass deportation, how do you go to the farm industry and say, we need you to continue producing at the same level if you don't have the workers to produce that?
They do have a migrant worker program, though. But in terms of mayors, whether they're going to work with Trump or not, I mean, listen to what a couple of them said here.
Would the Massachusetts State Police assist in mass deportations?
No, absolutely not.
We are not cooperating with those efforts that actually threaten the safety of everyone by causing widespread fear.
We're not going to cooperate. We're not going to ask our police force to serve as ICE agents.
76.5 million people in this country said, please deport the national security threats. And you've got these mayors saying, no, we're not going to cooperate.
Yes, and these sound bites and these statements by Democratic mayors are coming just 1 week after the horrific details of the Lake and Riley trial. And I think that's important for us to remember that illegal immigration has a face, it has a name, it has a story. And so when that announcement went out of over 1.4 million migrants that are here illegally at least, and their deportation orders were sent out. When Tom Homan says take it serious, he means take it serious. And so the mayors that are not abiding by the law, I think there'll be consequences for them. And so we're setting up this law and order discussion that is going to rain down, I think, very hard on these Democratic mayors not willing to put safety and security first.
All right, so let's wind the clock back to the Obama administration. These were the priorities for deportation of the Obama DHS, according to the Bipartisan Policy Center. Persons engaged in or suspected of terrorism or espionage who otherwise pose threats to national security, convicted gang members, persons apprehended at the border attempting to unlawfully enter the country, persons convicted of a felony other than offenses related to a person's immigration status or aggravated felonies. That's exactly what Trump wants to do. So why is he getting the pushback?
Listen, I think there's two different things here, right? Because I do think everything that the Obama administration did around making sure that we kept our country safe, Democratic mayors and Democratic governors worked with him. I think what the Trump administration is to be asking here is, will you use your police force, which should be focused on public safety in your community, right? Will you use your police force to go after folks who might not be these individuals? And I think that's the bright line that we have to make.
But he said national security.
Hold on a second.
Let me ask you this
question. The president's saying two things at the same time, and I think that's what Democratic governors and mayors are trying to overcome. You can't say that you want mass deportations, and at the same time you said you want surgical precision on getting rid of those folks who are here who are committing crimes.
Actually,
just to button this up. In terms of mass deportations, how many people did Obama deport?
He deported a lot of people. He deported more than Donald Trump did, to the tune of millions.
5.3 million.
I don't deny that.
Donald Trump deported 1.5. So why are the Democrats going mass deportation, when Obama was, according to some people, the deporter in chief?
And it's actually not speaking out of two different sides of their mouth, right? Border security is safety and security in our neighborhoods and communities. That's what voters responded to. All of the voters across the country, mothers, families that have been affected by the illegal immigrant crime that has traversed our cities coast to coast, it's a direct tie. So when you talk about wanting safety and security, it has to start with securing the border, and it has to start that ensuring that those that are in the interior that are here illegally return home and then go through legal routes to come back to this country.
But part of Obama's thing was persons apprehended at the border attempting to unlawfully enter the country. They will be deported.
There's nobody saying that we should not deport folks who are here illegally. There's nobody saying that we shouldn't deport folks that commit crimes. I think there's a different line of people people who are saying, if you are seeking asylum and you're waiting for your asylum claim, if you are a family and you have a child, if you're working in our farm industry and you're helping keep prices low, there should be a distinction. I think that's what we're saying. And what we're trying to do, when you say illegal crime and immigrants in the same sentence, you're saying that's all of them. That is not necessarily true.
No, I'm saying what
some
Tom
of them are
Homan
here
said, which is
working in our
safety
farms.
and security in our border is critical, and
So what
it
happens
starts
to folks
now.
working on our farms?
We got to wrap it up, but thank you so much for hanging with us through the breaking news. We really appreciate it.
See.
Lots more to talk about. Still a long way to January 20th. Now this.